big question is Mississippi State. You believe that they would be there. You thought they'd not. I'd start with you. Yeah. That's where they are. What do you think?
Well, based on what we heard last week from Jeff Long, who we'll get to hear from in a minute, they were talking about top 25 wins. And if you look at Mississippi State's schedule, they've only got the one. Now, they've got they have the best loss in the country. But even that game, I mean, they scored a touchdown late to make it close. They weren't super competitive in that game.
I think you have to be careful when you say stuff like that, because you can also say they had 2 red zone turnovers. They had an interception in the end zone. They had first and goal from the 1 right before half where they could have scored. I think you have to be careful when you say, oh, they could have won by more. Do you think Mississippi State is a worthy team?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, I think all these teams are worthy.
Because I think the 5-game stretch that they had is better and more impressive than anybody. You're talking about playing at Death Valley at night. That's the hardest atmosphere to play in college football, bar none. You play an Arkansas team at the end of that stretch. You play A&M, you play Auburn, I mean, that's 4 out of 5 tough games in a row that not a lot of teams can say that they played tough teams. LSU's out of the rankings. They're not in the top 25 anymore. Auburn, you just talked about how much respect you have for them. Yeah. There's still some real quality there. And listen, Baylor has some quality, too. TCU has some quality, too. Ohio State has some quality.
If you're taking inventory, what we've really got here is that Alabama's replaced TCU and Mississippi State's just changed its place in line. And TCU, we wondered what would happen, given the fact that, yes, they did win, but you're playing Kansas, and at one point you're down double digits. And did you expected to see Ohio State in here, but you expected TCU to move down off this line?
I didn't expect the committee to have them in Ohio State in there. I have them in mind because I think they're one of the best teams in the country right now. But when you look at TCU, I just feel like the committee eventually, if things even out and Baylor wins out and TCU wins out, they have to value that head-to-head. I thought it was an easy out for the committee to go ahead and say, all right, they struggled at Kansas, let's just do it now. Because eventually you have to value the head-to-head, the fact that Baylor beat TCU.
You would think, and for the folks in Fort Worth, they've known that the heaviest lifting that they get to do on their schedule is largely done. However, Texas playing better in a Thanksgiving game, something of a showcase game on the road. I mean, well, obviously, Texas isn't what they've been in the past, but if you get that win, that's one last shot against a glamour name, if nothing else.
Yeah, and here's how I'm going to look at it, Scott, the rest of the way. And I don't know how everybody's going to do it. You got Baylor, you got TCU, you got Mississippi State, and you got Ohio State. For me, the rest of the way, and I want the committee to look at it this way, I think the resumes are close, no matter how you spit it and how you look at it. I want to see the rest of the way who plays the best and earns their way into that 4th spot. That's all I care about. I think the resumes. I want to see you play good, play hard, and beat whoever's on your schedule, and who beats them the worst.
Do you think Mississippi State can stay there? That's the thing I'd be interested in. All these teams that are on the outside looking in.
But why do they not stay there as opposed to Baylor or TCU, who's not playing?
I agree with you on those. I would say more for Ohio State. They're the one that says, "Hey, what about us? We've got a chance to make a championship game where we can make a statement." And I don't think they have a chance if they're going to jump that far. That's the big question for me is what is the committee going to value? Because we don't know that X factor, the conference champions. How much weight do they put on it? So is it fair to say, how do you play the rest of the way, Scott? If you want the 4 best teams, look at these teams over the next 2 weeks. Yeah, but some of them have easier roads.
They all play a great team. They all play a really good team. You each have one showcase. At least.
But I think that
TCU plays Texas. That's
not a great showcase, though.
It's still got to be the totality of your work. I understand about you want to finish strong, and you want to give the committee, you want to bake the committee a cake and say, here it is, earn it, have a piece of this. But
the resumes aren't going to be that different, Scott. It's just going to be tomato. So the rest, like TCU, you have an opportunity against a great Texas defense. Put on a show. Baylor did not put on a show against that team.
Yeah, but Baylor beat Kansas by 46 points.
And they put on a show versus Oklahoma.
I'm saying the rest of the way, I want to see what you can do to earn it.